Welcome to David Yuree's annual spring meeting. Today we're going to review the purpose of this meeting. We'll also share our goals and Title I spending for this school year. And finally, we'll share some reflections with you as we've begun to plan for next year. This meeting has three purposes. We want to provide an opportunity for all stakeholders to participate in reflection and discussion. The feedback we receive through this meeting will be used as we develop our goals and Title I budget for next year. We want to make sure we're spending our funds in a way that's promoting success for all of our students. Since this meeting is focused largely on how we spend our Title I funds, we want to take a moment to explain what Title I means. Title I is the largest federally funded program in public schools. The amount of funds that are received are based on the number of students receiving free or reduced lunch. David Youree is a Title I school-wide program, which means the funds we receive are used to ensure all students receive a high-quality education. These funds are supplemental. This is funding we receive in addition to the determined Rutherford County budget and must be spent on supplemental things. As a Title I school, we have a responsibility to provide opportunities for all students to meet challenging academic state standards. This includes thinking about each of our demographic subgroups, such as those that are economically disadvantaged, racial and ethnic groups, students with disabilities, and English learners. We are responsible for using methods and instructional practices that strengthen our academic program. We want to make sure we're increasing the quality of learning time, and that we're providing a well-rounded education for all students that includes an enriched educational experience. We're also striving to address the needs of students at risk of not meeting academic standards. Our data from last school year guided us in developing goals for this year. These goals typically revolve around four areas. Let's look at the ELA and math data first. This data is reported in achievement and growth, which are two very different measurements. Achievement is the number of students who achieve a particular score or proficiency level on their TCAP assessments. This is reported in the percentage of students that reached these proficiency levels. Last year, David Youree had 20.6% of students in ELA that achieved their proficiency levels and 19% in math. Growth is how much progress students made in a year and is expressed in levels from 1 through 5. When students meet the amount of growth that is expected, it is considered a level 3. Students that exceed the expected amount of growth can earn a level 4 or 5. Those that do not meet their expected growth will earn a level 1 or 2. We met our expected growth in ELA. For math, part of our goal is improving our math growth. The third area for data is teacher retention and performance. We're very proud of our teacher retention at 93.9% and hope to see that continue this year. We also have over 90% of our teachers with a level of effectiveness of 3 or higher. The state uses lesson observations and students' test scores to provide teachers with their level of effectiveness, which is also done with a scale of 1 to 5. Level 3 means that a teacher is meeting expectations and his or her students are showing expected growth. The fourth area of data includes anything that gives us an idea about students' participation and or ability to participate in their education. Indicators used for this may be absentee rates, behavior data, or student health information. Last year, our chronic absenteeism was 3.4%. This means that only 3.4% of our students had excessive absences for the year. You want this number to be as low as possible. With that data in mind, we set our goals for this year. Increasing ELA and math achievement and growth, especially math growth. Recruiting, retaining, and training effective teachers, which means maintaining or increasing our retention rate and increasing the number of teachers with a level of effectiveness of 3 or higher. We want to make sure we are implementing strategies to ensure all students receive a well-rounded education and have the opportunity to learn in a safe and healthy environment. We want to continue a low chronic absentee rate. Using these goals, we planned and implemented our Title I budget for this year. We had $564,650 to spend this year. This is a breakdown of how we divided up our money into these 5 categories. We're going to talk about each of these a little more. The largest percentage of our Title I funds are spent on additional staff. We fund 6 positions with our Title I funds, as shown in the yellow box. These positions are in addition to the 4 support staff that are provided by Rutherford County. These positions help us to provide more academic and behavior interventions for at-risk students. Currently, we're serving 137 students for academic interventions. Our behavior interventionist supports behavior and social-emotional learning in a variety of ways, including offering resources to teachers and working with students. This team is an invaluable resource as we try to meet the needs of our at-risk students and strengthen academics across the building. Our staff development funds were focused on strengthening our professional learning communities. Professional learning communities are collaborative teams focused on student learning. When these teams are working well, they have proven to have very powerful results in improving student achievement. We've worked diligently over the last year to help our teams achieve these results. Our guiding coalition, or leadership team, has led the charge in this development, which began last summer at the PLC conference. We continued our staff development at the beginning of the school year with a school-wide training. Then a consultant visited with us a few weeks ago. She met with each of our teams to offer feedback and support. We were also able to provide other staff development for our teams throughout the year. While Title I funds weren't needed for these trainings, each of them supported our goals in various ways. We were also able to purchase some instructional resources for our school. Each of these resources help teachers implement best practices in our classrooms or strengthen their knowledge of best practices. We tried a new type of parent engagement event this year, One Book, One School. Families in our school community all participated in a shared reading of Toys Go Out. Along with our reading, we shared a 5-part video series with examples of how parents can use the books to support their students' reading at home. The strategies shared can be used with any text. We have a second book and training planned for May with the book 8 Class Pets. Here we have other parent trainings that were offered this year, 2 of which are upcoming. Be on the lookout for information in April and May for trainings focused on TCAP and summer learning. If you have questions or are interested in the information shared for any of these, just let us know. Now that we've reviewed our spending for this year, let's look over some information that we've begun to reflect on for next year. There are different types of assessments that we use to help us determine if our strategies are working. TCAP, which is the state assessment given each April. The universal screener is given to all students in August, December, and May to assess basic reading and math skills. Common formative assessments are developed by our teachers and used throughout the year to monitor students' progress and guide their instruction. This is a snapshot of our math universal screener data. We want students to score above the 25th percentile. This chart tracks the percentage of our students that scored above the 25th percentile last year compared to this year on the math assessment. This is the same data, but for our reading universal screener. It also shows the percentage of students scoring above the 25th percentile last year compared to this year. We also have collected survey information from faculty and parents. According to our faculty surveys, staff was again ranked as the highest priority for our Title I funds for next year. In the yellow box, we can see strategies that faculty believe need to be continued. Title I staff, RAS Kids and 95% strategies support reading instruction and interventions. PLCs are our professional learning communities that we discussed earlier in the meeting. They also gave us some ideas for staff training next year and some ideas to implement to possibly include in the budget for next year. Our family surveys showed some strengths we want to make sure we continue next year, as shown in the yellow box. And in the peach box, we have some areas we can try to improve. For example, we did not have a high participation rate for our annual fall meeting or parent trainings. We would like to increase this rate. We also want to see if we can help families better connect with community services. Now that we've provided you with some background information for this year, we would appreciate some feedback from you. Please use this QR code to fill out a short survey. A link for the survey will also be in the video description. We appreciate your time and support. If we can answer any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to email us.